Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a Happy New Year's card that I created with a free scrapbook.com SVG file and stamps by Fawn. I have shared several videos about how to use SVG files with your scan and cut machine, and today I wanted to share with you something new that I learned, which is how to sort of cut away parts of the SVG files that you don't need. The file that I'll be using today is by scrapbook.com. It's a file that allows you to create a calendar if you want, but I modified it a little bit and I'm going to use it to create a card instead. So I want this scallop frame that I resized to be 4 inches wide, and then I want to be able to create the number 2020 because, as I said, this is a Happy New Year's card. So I want to cut out all the other numbers. And what I will do in order to achieve that is I will create a shape and I will duplicate it and I will overlap the shape with everything that I don't want to be left. So I am basically aiming to delete the bottom 2 rows and the top 3 rows at this point. I'm going to select everything and then I'm going to go on Edit, Process Overlap and then Remove Overlap. As you see, I'm only left with the one central row where I have the numbers from 17 to 21, and I'm going to shrink down my rectangles so that I can repeat the process. You have to have all your layers selected to do that. As you can see, I tried to do it and it didn't work because I didn't select everything. So I'm going to repeat again this step and then I'm going to delete the squares and I have my 20 ready to be used. I'm going to duplicate this layer because I want 2020 as I said already, and then I'm going to resize it to match the size of my frame. I'm going to make sure that I have everything placed correctly and at the right size, and the guides on this matte image that you have on your Canvas workspace, which is the software that I'm using, help you figure out what size your final cutouts will be actually. And then I can go ahead and export the file as FCM, save it to my USB stick, and then use the USB stick to import the design in my brother's scan and cut machine and cut it out of a paper of choice. Here is the result. I have the frame and the date 2020 that I cut out of some pattern paper from the Fawn Knock on Wood paper pad. This is the 6x6 version and I chose the lighter brown color. I'm going to put this aside for now and I'm going to work on the rest of my card. Get a smooth blend toward white because I want a soft transition between my sky and the hue. I want them to sort of fade into each other to give a more cozy and softer look to the final project. This is also why I'm using blending brushes rather than blending foams, because it's really easy to get a nice and soft blend with these brushes. They are one of my favorite tools for ink blending and you see me use them quite often on my cards. I went back in with that salty ocean on the lower portion of the sky to get a little bit of a richer color and create a rounder shape there where I have the transition towards white, because I want to give the impression of a snowy hue, and this was kind of faster than going in with a stencil or creating layers with dyes. I darkened up the top portion of the sky using Distress Oxide in Black Soot, and now I am creating some stars using Perfect Pearls in the color Perfect Pearl. I diluted them with water and once they dry they will add a nice and shimmery touch because of the mica powders they contain. I then moved on and started working on the image that I decided to add to this scene. This is part of the Fawn Winter Sky stamp set, and I thought it will contribute to this cozy and soft feel that I wanted for this card. I stamped it with scrapbook.com premium hybrid black ink on some Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm going to do some quick coloring with my Zicklin Color Real Brush markers. I'm coloring the bears using 2 shades of grey that I'm first blending with each other, and then I am blending out with a water brush. And I'm going to leave the scarves empty because I decided to do some paper piecing for them, but I will tell you about it in a little bit. Now I wanted to let you know that today is the first day of the pre-Black Friday week sale on scrapbook.com, so there are a lot of offers and there are freebies too. The SVG file that I used today is one of them, but it's not the only one. So if you're interested, make sure to check the links in the description box down below, because I will have more information about that there. But now we can go back and keep talking about the card. I had decided to use this pattern paper for my background. This is by LDRS Creative and it's called Christmas Cottage. It's full of gorgeous designs. While I was coloring the images, before I actually went ahead and colored the scarves, I thought, wait a second, I can actually use this plaid pattern and do some paper piecing on the scarves so that I have an element that ties in the image with the background. So I took that central square cutout and I stamped my image on top of it using the same black ink by scrapbook.com that I used for the image that I colored, and then I used my scissors to cut out the scarves right along the stamped lines. Before gluing down the scarves on the main image, I also added some quick shading with my Copic markers. You could use Illustrator markers or Nuvo markers, it doesn't matter, whatever you have on hand is fine. So I added some quick shading, as I said, using my C7, C5, and then I went in with a colorless blender to blend everything out. I did this on both scarves and then I adhered them to my image using some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It's quite hard to believe that in all these years that I've been card making, I haven't used paper piecing, I think, at all. This might be the first time that I do it, and I think it's really cute, so it will definitely happen more often here on my channel. Next, I adhered the frame on top of the sky, and before gluing down the images, I added a bit of a drop shadow using a purple Zicklin Color Real Brush marker. I decided where I would position the images, drew in the drop shadow, and then used my water brush to blend it out and soften it up a little bit more, and then I glued down the images on my scene. I glued the scene to the background, but I would advise that you wait until you do this because I will have to take this off and glue it back again a little bit higher up on my background, because I'm going to adhere now the 2020 part of the sentiment on the bottom right corner, and I started from the last number and I'm working my way from the right towards the left so that I'm sure that I get the positioning right. But as you can see, that scalloped frame is almost touching the sentiment. Luckily, I was able to pull off the frame and glue it back on, but it's safer if you just first glue the 2020 part of the sentiment and then go ahead and adhere the frame. I finished off the sentiment with a banner. I used one of the dies in the Fawn Flippin Awesome die set to die cut some red cardstock. I brushed some Distress Oxide in Black Soot on the edges of the banner to darken it up a little bit because it was a little bit too bright compared to the reds that I have on my card. And then I stamped one of the greetings in the Fawn Winter Wavy Saying stamp set using scrapbook.com premium hybrid black ink. And lastly, I adhered the banner to the card front. I mounted everything on a top folding A2 card base cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5.5 inches, and that finished off my card. Don't forget to check the description box down below for a list of the products that I used to create today's card and also for a link to the sales on scrapbook.com. If you did enjoy this video, you can let me know with a thumbs up and a comment in the comment section down below. I always love reading your feedback. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel for more card making and paper crafting inspiration. Thank you all so much for stopping by and have a great day.